questions people are asking on the ground. And so it's, caused a lot of confusion on the ground. Watu wamechanganyikiwa kila mahali, wanajiuliza gavana wetu, yeye ni Jubilee ama ni NASA? Remember, there's a time he went to the market. And when he got to the market, akaambia watu kwamba kura za kwanza zikiwa za opponent wake, yeye ataambia watu wake wapigie nani? Wapigie NASA. So people are asking, the governor should come out straight to the people and tell them, is he NASA or is he Jubilee?
Honorable Okwara,
if
I can just jump in and ask you, we have freedom of speech enshrined in our constitution. What say does the governor have if NASA principals want to come to his county and endorse him? I mean, he can easily...
There is no problem. There is no problem. There is no problem, Maura. This is a contest. We have two farasi ni mbili hapa. Tuko na watu wa NASA, tuko na watu wa Jubilee. Wacha watu wa NASA wakuje watafute kura za NASA. Wacha watu wa Jubilee watafute kura za Jubilee. But when you find somebody crossing the floor to come and endorse somebody who is actually in Jubilee, it leaves too many questions to ask, too many questions to answer. And that's the reasons why watu wa Eldoret hapa wanajiuliza maswali mengi. Mbona principals walikuja hapa, wakakuja kumwendorse huyu? Does he want to become the sixth principal? That's the question we're asking.
All right, let me allow my analyst to weigh in on this as well. Go ahead.
I think it would be, would want to hear what you say. It would be very dishonest of you to say that the NASA brigade was brought by the governor. However, what I agree with you is the fact that he has to come clear. But are you agreeing that right now NASA are your competitors and they can use any strategy to destabilize and bring different discussions in Eldoret? So I think it's not right of you to say that he brought them to Eldoret. Can you come clear on that?
I'm not saying he brought them to Eldoret. No. But when the NASA principals come here, because I'm sure this particular rally was organized by themselves.
Yeah.
But then, when they come in a major rally like that and then endorse the governor, it leaves too many questions to answer. I'm not saying that the governor brought them to Eldoret. This is a NASA rally. They organize a rally themselves. But the question we are asking is, what interest does NASA have in a heavily Jubilee zone where the governor is Jubilee and is the first governor in the country to be endorsed by by NASA? The first governor.
Honorable
What
Okwara,
interest does NASA have in Uasin Gishu?
Wouldn't you say that the 450,000 registered voters in Uasin Gishu are enough interest for NASA to want to use any strategy possible to try and get votes for their presidential candidate, Raila Odinga?
Well, I know basically what the governor may be wanting is because we know we have too many NASA people, a few of NASA people in town, and maybe he wants to get this NASA vote within Eldoret. But the confusion here
I'm actually saying it the other way around, that NASA want the supporters of Mandago to vote for them, and they're hoping that by this endorsement, they'll get the votes. Wouldn't you say that's enough of an interest?
That's impossible. That is impossible. I can tell you for a fact it's impossible. In this devolution government, I'll tell you for a fact that, politics has become very local, very local. We have our local politics here. And if NASA principals think that they can be able to rein in through Mandago to get votes from the larger Kalenjin, the larger Uasin Gishu area, I think that is a miscalculation, my brother.
Okay, Honorable Okwara, hold on for two more questions. Let me allow Jemima to ask hers now.
Yes, thank you, Waiga. Just to ask Honorable Okwara, what is the loss to NASA? For me, I would think it's a good strategy. In fact, a very noble strategy by NASA to endorse a candidate in a ground where they have no candidate. They have nothing to lose. They were there to campaign. You said there are two horses, there's Jubilee and NASA. They came with their candidate. Mandago represents many people in his county, some of whom are also NASA supporters. What would be wrong with the ODM, or rather NASA, endorsing a candidate who has been the incumbent? If they are happy with the services he has been giving the people of Uasin Gishu, some of whom were the residents there.
Well, that's agreeable, but let me also state that we have two candidates. We have an independent candidate who comes from the larger Kalenjin area, and he has a wide support. We have Mandago, who comes from the larger Kalenjin area. He has a wide support. My question is, why specifically Jubilee candidate? That's the question. And I think, as I said, if NASA thinks that they are going to be able to use Mandago to get votes for NASA, I think that is a miscalculation. That's what I said.
Okay.
The total miscalculation.
Let me also allow Kumui to come in as well and just give us ask you a question, Mheshimiwa. Hang on there. Go ahead, Kumui.
Thank you. Good morning, Mheshimiwa Okwara. Well, my question is...
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I ask you a question, just for sake of clarity, NASA has all the rights to come into Rift Valley and even grab you in... Even you, they will grab you very soon
Kenya
if you allow them.
Country.
So the interest they have is to own them. Yeah, I'm coming to my question, so just listen.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is that NASA has all the rights to come into Rift Valley and grab everybody, including you. So the interest they have is to have Rift Valley with them. So the mere fact that they've come to endorse Mandago, that was a plus in political strategy. That was well calculated. So you should not ask yourself, and well, based on what I've just heard from you, I understand the confusion, and you've referred to Mheshimiwa as His Excellency. I understand your loyalty to him. Now, my question comes, and I want to ask you, my question is very simple. Does it mean that, we know very well that Rift Valley is owned by Honorable William Ruto. Does it mean that...
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Sorry, just take that again. Go ahead.
My question is, can you hear me? Yes. Does it mean that the Deputy President, Honorable William Ruto, has been intimidating some of the candidates, especially Jubilee candidates? Or does it mean that Honorable William Ruto has been having some secret meetings with independent candidates? He has planted some independent candidates, but for PR purposes, he's praising Jubilee on the ground, because the action Mandago took is a disparate and bitter decision. For NASA to come to Rift Valley and endorse him, that was a bitter decision he made, and he was disparate in a way. He felt so intimidated. So the question is, does it mean that William Ruto has been meeting some of the independent candidates, and even you may not also talk about it, and you can clarify this because we are live on a national TV, you also feel intimidated by the Deputy President?
Well, no. I think that would be wrong to say that the Deputy President has been campaigning for other candidates. What I know, and I think the Deputy President has said that, is that he is loyal to Jubilee. The Deputy President has said everywhere he has gone that he will campaign for the Jubilee nominees, Mandago being one of them. I don't personally think that the Deputy President has had any secret meetings with other people to try and intimidate Mandago or intimidate any other candidates. His favorite is any candidate, irrespective of where you come from. He has campaigned specifically for Jubilee candidates. The confusion that happened yesterday has nothing totally to do with the Deputy President. Maybe that is Mandago's politics, the local politics of what's in Gishu, but it has nothing totally to do with the Deputy President. I think we better remove William Ruto out of this politics. William Ruto is loyal to Jubilee. That's what I believe. And everywhere I've heard him talk, where the rallies I've gone to see him talk, he has specifically told us we should be totally loyal to Jubilee.
Yes, okay, I'll have to cut you off there. Honorable Okwara, last question before I let you go. For purposes of putting your comments into perspective, who are you supporting for the gubernatorial race? Just so that we know, where your comments are coming from. Who are you supporting for the gubernatorial race in Uasin Gishu? A lot of our viewers are asking that on 22422.
I'm a Jubilee. I'm in Jubilee. We are loyal to Jubilee. We are looking for votes for Jubilee.
So you are supporting the Jubilee gubernatorial...
as many aspirants of Jubilee into the party, into government. We want a Jubilee governor. We want Jubilee, period.
Thank you. Thank you. So just to clarify, you're supporting the Jubilee gubernatorial candidate, regardless of what happened yesterday at the NASA rally.
Jubilee support. What we want is somebody in Jubilee. That's basically what we want.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time and for giving us that insight. And we'll wait to hear what Honorable Mandago and, of course, Buzeki will say later on in regards to what happened yesterday at that rally. Getting so much feedback here on 22422. Let me read a few of them and get my panel to respond to that. Let me see here. Someone here, you don't give us your name, but you say NASA endorsing Mandago means that as Kenyans, we need to vote for personalities and character and not a party. Another person here is when Nyenze endorsed His Excellency Uhuru in Ukambani, and this was a big topic that we talked about here on Citizen Extra. He almost lost his nomination certificate. Now Kalonzo is endorsing Mandago, who is not Wiper. Isn't that double standards? And if I can get a quick one here, Ken from Nairobi says NASA just wants to make headlines by endorsing Mandago. That way they condition Kenyans' mind by occupying the TV and news at all times, if not at all before the day of the ballot. That strategy has been used in previous elections for that. Ray, your response to some of that feedback, is it just simply to make headlines, or do you think
or
is there more than just headlines with what NASA did yesterday?
It's more than, it's not about headlines. The only thing that I think we must give Mandago a right of reply, and to me I think we are really getting the cart before the horse by even alleging and insinuating that Mandago actually is the one who is behind the rally. Let's hear him. And I think I've heard what Honorable Okwara said, that they would want Mandago to come clear. So I think let him come clear before we say all these things. So what you've asked, it's not about headlines. That was a strategy. And remember the issue of Nyenze, and I think what Jemima said, that it is not breaking the law. But I think in law, you will educate me, there is the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. To me, in this extent, it's almost violating the spirit of the law. It is not, we are not going to get the letter of the law that they broke it literally. But again, the way we are saying, it can bring a very weird spiral effect, whereby now Jubilee also now starts to do what? Let's go to Kisumu, let's endorse Ranguma. But at the end of the day, it will not be good for the candidates, because Wahiga, people have invested money into these campaigns. People have invested a lot to reach where they reach. So if political formations will come and do these games, it is going to affect some of these candidates, and it would be sad.
Jemima, Honorable Okwara mentioned that some residents in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County are confused by what happened yesterday. Do you think they are really confused, or do they understand what's going on?
I don't think they are confused. They know very well who is their candidate. They also know which party they are supporting, whether it's Jubilee or NASA. At this time where we are, every party and like NASA and Jubilee, they are now doing their last race. They are doing everything they can to swing votes. You know, even though if Uasin Gishu is a Jubilee zone, NASA is still looking for those, you know, last-minute swing votes, if they can just get some few votes by endorsing Mandago. And the voter is already aware who they are voting for at this stage.
Okay. Komoi, let me allow you to make a parting or closing statement on this topic before we talk about something else. Go ahead.
Yes. I like how NASA has been coordinating their campaigns. I've been speaking about this. If you look at how Raila has been coordinating his people, he's been behaving like a Marine US commander. So when NASA took Isaac Ruto in Rift Valley, that was the time William Ruto could have noticed something. Isaac Ruto is not just a joke. He's a serious politician, highly experienced in terms of propaganda and wealth of experience in the world of politics. Now, Mandago, for a running mate like Kalonzo Musyoka, who is also experienced in politics, to go to Rift Valley and endorsed a gubernatorial candidate with a Jubilee ticket, and they are from NASA. There's been a discussion for the last 1 month. Remember when I was there when the vote was being buried, and Mandago, though I'm not a Kalenjin, but he spoke in Kalenjin, and he was talking to those people into details. If you can, a citizen can analyze that, you get a Kalenjin to translate all that, there was a problem. So this problem started long time ago. Now for Mandago to allow NASA now to endorse him, the agent of NASA in Rift Valley is Isaac Ruto. So Honorable William Ruto has a lot to do. If he has to deliver to Jubilee like the way he delivered in 2013, he has to go back. Instead of rushing to Mombasa to attack Joe, let him go back to Rift Valley and organize his house. Because so, without it, by ignoring this, I want to be honest, this is my opinion. I'm telling you, there is high possibility for NASA to get 30% in Rift Valley.
30%.
Because Okwara has been addressing his boss, who was endorsed by NASA yesterday. They don't, you know, it's like reporting to us that we don't know what we should do. There's a lot of confusion.
But Wahiga,
Wahiga,
we have to be, and I agree with what my brother is saying, some of them. But let's how do we make a statement that Honorable Mandago has allowed NASA? I think it is all about, we have talked here. NASA has got a right to have a rally in Eldoret. I may seem to be as if I'm holding brief for him. I'm not. I think let's not say he has allowed, because NASA, remember, this is the political competition is getting a little bit very heightened, and I could tell you with a lot of confidence that was mischief from NASA. So the only thing is, this mischief that they have, that we have said, is calculated to get some few votes. How Mandago, we should wait for Mandago to come clear, and we hear what he says. But let's not have the statement.
Allow me to interject.
Let's not make the statement that he has allowed.
Ray Ochieng, allow me to interject. With all due respect.
Final interjection.
Ray, that's why we are political analysts here. Yeah. Our work is to analyze what people have not seen, and we can foresee what even Mandago cannot see. So for Mandago to make such a decision, it's a discussion they've been having. And I want to assure you,
what decision did Mandago make?
But for NASA running mate to endorse him, he knew the repercussions.
But let me ask you, I can endorse you right now in this studio without your knowledge or permission.
True. No.
Yes,
from yesterday up to now, it's almost 10-something. He could have dismissed that on social media. That I rebuke what Kalonzo Musyoka did to me yesterday. Wow. It's like going to Siaya and President Uhuru Kenyatta holds Ranguma's hand. Gentlemen, let us be honest here.
Jemima, help bring some balance into this discussion.
Well, I would not want to cast aspersions as to what Mandago may have done or not. I do not want to get into his head and imagine what would have done or not. I think, as Ray said, it's up to him to decide what to do with that endorsement. True. Whether he decides to publicly dissociate himself with it or not, of which we have kind of said it's the right thing to do because of the base of where he is, or whether he decides to keep quiet. It's all about it's about him. He also has his own political strategies.
And I think he is listening, Waiga, I know.
Okay, let's do this. Let's cross over now to Kisumu County at the Tom Mboya Labour College, where KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli is launching KOTU's strategic plan 2018 to 2021. Let's have a listen in to that. Of course, we need your feedback on the topic that we are discussing. We'll read those SMSs and so much after this live event. Let's now cross over to Kisumu County.
Watu wanaishi kwa zile nyumba zile za half cuts zinapigwa hivi wakati wa baridi Murang'a literally people wanakufa. And Murang'a people wasema muda usho ni wa nyumba leo. Mlenda ati anywe. Naradi hari ya mshemani wa wando wa nyumba leo. Leadership must change lives of people. You can ask me what Atwoli have you done for workers in this country. You will see it's tangible. 2-3 weeks ago, Kenya government gazetted the 18% minimum wage increase. That is our sweat. From 2012 to 2017, we have managed to raise minimum wage by more than 40%. That is our work. But it must be supplemented by a good working environment, not where government wants to fight trade unions, where government wants to disintegrate trade unions, double registrations of trade unions, and so on. And where government cannot be in a position to attract direct and indirect investment for the purposes of making sure that we spur economic growth, and in the process we create more employment for the young people. If you listen to politicians, the same stories we are being told. Oh, young people, provision of employment to young people. How will you employ young people when you don't have a master plan on economic growth? How are you going to create employment? Mimi nataka kumaliza na kusema, as we move towards elections, let us remain peaceful, let us not be divided, alongside tribal lines and so on. Let us not be divided. And let us not be moved by our tribes. And let us encourage our children to be friends of all Kenyans, irrespective of their ethnic background and so on. We are all Kenyans. Let us work together. Let us make sure that we have peaceful elections. Let us vote wisely. Let us think about how do we end poverty in our midst. Not following people who promise Kenyans heavens when they are not in a position to show us where hell is. Huh? Hata afadhali mtu akwambie mimi unichague lakini tutaenda zote kwa heri. That will be a honest person. That will be a honest person. May I have only one honest kwa nyinyi nyote members of staff that I respect. Sijui Lydia yuko wapi? Lydia yuko wapi? Hebu simama kidogo. Lydia will never forget you. Simama kidogo watu wakuone. And Lydia, don't take offense, eh? Don't take offense. I want to give some example about you. Hii msichana huyu tuli-advertise kazi katika kotu. Now she happened to be shortlisted amongst so many. And the interview was conducted, the chairman of the interview was my late deputy Secretary General of Court, the late George Muchai. And she did very well. Nikasema number one, yule atakuwa number one, mefanya vizuri, abaki kotu. Yule number two, unitumie kwa my union ya Kenya Plantation and Agriculture Workers. So immediately after, sit down, Lydia. Immediately after interview, so the one who excelled is supposed to come and work under me. That girl, she's an accountant by profession. And I go, listen, Lydia, what are your don'ts and do's? Tell me honestly. Kasema, mimi ni mfanya kazi. Na sitaki kuwa pushed sana na nguvu. Nataka nipate time yangu ya kufanya kazi and we'll see the results. Because I'm a professional. Ingine, akasema, kama nimechoka sana, I have not more than 2 bottles of beer. Nikamwambia usiende sana, I would give you a job and I would support you. But I would never let you down. Unajua, let me tell you, it's not easy. Hata hiyo wanawake tunaishi na yeye. Ukisha oa yeye ukimpeleka airport Embakasi Nairobi ukimuuliza hapa na wapi, atakwambia ya kwamba hapa sijui, I don't know, I've never been to this place. She will be pretending even to be more than a virgin. So me, I want to take this opportunity to thank Lydia. And this is, I'm just saying like that. And she has never let us down. There is no other day I have seen her drinking myself. Or drunk. If I would have denied her job on account that she takes 2 beers after work, I would have lost. And I knew she's honest and faithful and straightforward person. So I'm just trying to emphasize as members of staff, you need to be more honest, straightforward, specific on issues, sincere, and a person who can say what you think is right. Not to hero worship, even to hero worship me. And those are the people who can create a change into masses, not pretenders. A pretender is worse than a murder. I was listening to Pastor Kuria on Churchill. If you listen to Pastor Kuria, he introduces his wife to the masses and he says, "Huyu ndiye anajulikana." And he's a pastor. And then he laments issues of pretending. So I'm just trying to say, let us be ourselves as we move forward in this our country. And let us also be sure of what we will be doing in few days to come, particularly when it comes to choosing our leaders. And I appeal to the young people. Young people must not vote based on tribe. Because we have time and again been promised the heavens. Young people, you need to have you need to make Kenya go through a rebirth so that you have a new Kenya that can drive a new economy, Kenya that can drive agenda or new agenda that will see us developing fast. And I want to give you a very recently, me and my personal assistant, we were in Kigali in the East African Trade Union Confederation meeting. Kigali 10 years ago, before they went through a rebirth, it was a useless place. Again, right now from the airport to the hotel, and I can tell you for free because 3 months of a year I stay in Europe because of my positions. Kigali is more cleaner than Geneva, Switzerland, and one of the best cities in the world. It can be classified as one of the best cities in the world. And Kigali's economy into this Kisumu city, it can be about twice as much. Yeah, it's less than twice. It can, you know, economy in Kisumu, it can be a half of Kisumu economy. Just Kisumu, not Kenya, not Nairobi. Kigali alone as a city. So when you see that, you ask yourself, where are we in Kisumu taking our money to? Forget about Nairobi. Nairobi up to now, you go to small cities like Lome, in Togo. They have lights, they're controlling the traffic using lights. Go to Khartoum, small towns. Nairobi, the Askaris have refused, the traffic officers have refused to get out of the roads and let lights organize traffic. The traffic being created in Nairobi city is being created by human beings. When the whole country has gone to automation, you wonder what is wrong with these people. It's the only city in the world where people are still doing like this to vehicles. And they are enjoying. If that is stupidity, somebody is enjoying. Then you are ujinga. And nobody is saying that. Is it because of lack of exposure? Is it that the county government is not coordinating with the security agencies to make sure that lights work, to make sure that traffic offenders are penalized there and thereon? We have refused to tell the matatus. There is no city in the world where matatus reign in this, you know, in the center of the city. Matatus. When you are coming from Embakasi, the airport, you start seeing the poverty of our country when we are not poor. A lot of garbage around. And people want to enjoy such a situation. And even ministers, including prominent Kenyans who visit other countries outside Kenya, when they come to Nairobi, they blind themselves because they are enjoying to stay in a filthy city. Oh God! Buildings are not painted, pavements are not worked on, and that is not the work of even the county government. The land owners must be made to paint. Go to Morocco. are given colors. Even in Cairo, Sharm el-Sheikh is a white city. Casablanca, white. You go to Marrakesh, maroon city, it's given a color. Huh?
Well, that is a live press conference from the Tom Mboya Labour College in Kisumu County, where COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli is launching the Strategic Plan 2018 to 2021. He, of course, took time to talk a bit about politics, urging the youth to vote and not to vote along tribal lines and to vote wisely as well. So that's a little bit about what's happening there. We come back and continue our discussion in studio. A bit later on, I also want to let you know that we will be hosting a cross-section of religious leaders to talk about the upcoming elections and their role in credible and peaceful elections. That will be coming up shortly. But for now, let's talk about the adopt a poll strategy that NASA has been talking about in the coming August 8th polls, and of course IEBC's response in regards to the same. Now, the Electoral Commission, that's the IEBC, yesterday dealt a blow to the National Super Alliance's plan to deploy 5 of its agents to all polling stations. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati says NASA, like any other party, will only be allowed 1 agent per station. The chairman has also echoed the government's warning that unaccredited agents will also be forcefully removed from polling stations. Let me engage my panelists now on this. We still have Ray Ochieng, a governance expert, Bonke Komwai, a political analyst, and Jemima Kelly, an advocate of the High Court. And of course, I want to know from you, let's start with you, Ray. Do you agree with Chebukati in the statement that he made yesterday?
I think Chebukati is very right, Waihika, and I think this, we have really blown this out of proportion, because actually NASA won a case, and the case that they won was that whatever will be announced at the stations, polling stations, will be the final results. So in these elections, kind of provisional results has been demystified. So what does that mean? That means that when the returning officer will be tallying and making an announcement down at his station, that becomes the results. So why was IEBC coming and raising this matter? I think NASA would not be a little bit would be a little bit cautious, and maybe like this maybe also work to their benefit, because we've been having this discussion about definitely a critical thing that they've been raising, that the incumbency, the government wants to rig elections for Jubilee. And I believe, first of all, let me state, they have a right to be heard, they have a right to be assured of every question that they are raising. But in terms of allowing extra people within the polling station, and actually now also to educate Kenyans. And Wahiga, what happened in this general election? Last year, around 564 million was used in terms of voter education. This time we were not educated at all. And what Kenyans must know...
Last year or last time during the 2013?
2013.
Okay.
Voter education. We've not had a lot of... we've not had significant voter education going on. So what happens? The regulations are very clear that around 400 meters, this is not Chebukati's creation. And Jemima is an advocate, she'll correct if I'm wrong. This is not a Chebukati creation. This is a regulation that is there. So let me also bring this point. If a party would want to have more candidates than the others, then definitely it again causes a recipe for chaos. Then the other thing, I think this will also work for NASA's favor. IEBC has been very clear, and they've said, I've been very critical on IEBC preparedness, and I've always believed they have not so fully prepared. But on this, IEBC is saying, let's also look at how we control the numbers. Wahiga, if we have 3,000 people blocking the gates because they want to adopt a polling station, then definitely it's a recipe for chaos. And actually, it can even work against NASA, because at that point, the police can be redeployed to maintain the peace. And what will be the perception? That police are actually now being used to intimidate voters. Okay,
to put this into perspective, and before I allow Jemima to come in on this as well, let's listen in to a statement by NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga and IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati, just for the benefit of our viewers who may have just joined us on this Adopt a Poll, a topic that will obviously dominate the headlines over the next coming days. Let's listen in right now.
Tuko na watu wetu ambao watakuwa ndani kule kwenye kituo ya kuni kama maagent yetu. Watakuwa na register. Mtu akiingia kupiga anaweka tick. kupiga, tick. Kupiga, 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 kupiga. Ikifika saa 4 hiyo rekodi inatolewa nje. Alafu anaangalia nani ameshapiga, fulani amepiga, fulani amepiga, fulani bado, fulani bado. Wanaangalia kwenye mstari. Huyu hajapiga na hayuko kapa kwenye mstari.
Voters will come vote and leave the 400-meter area so as not to interfere with the operations. Now, on the issue of adopt polling station, I don't know the legal framework of that, but whatever happens outside the 400 meters, that's outside our jurisdiction. I believe Kenyans will follow the law. They'll not cause any fracas out there because I believe that's the area where the other agencies come in. But as far as we are concerned, we shall follow the law insofar as the number of agents is concerned in a polling station. The presiding officer may order the dispersal of any gathering of persons which appears to the presiding officer to be preventing free entry to or exit from the polling station or to be intimidating or interfering with voters. And any such order will be sufficient authority for a police officer or any person authorized by the order to effect the dispersal.
Jemima, you've had that back and forth between Raila and Chebukati.
Yes,
how can and I know this is a difficult question, how can IEBC find a balance between ensuring that they stick within the law, but at the same time still find a way to negotiate with NASA? Because this is one topic that NASA are not willing to let go of easily.
Yes, and thank you for that question. I think I'll just begin by citing what the philosopher John Locke said about life without regulations by the law. It's very brutal, very short, and chaotic. And this is what, if this adopt a poll policy or strategy by NASA, that's what is likely to lead to that situation of chaos in the elections. I liked what the chairman, Chebukati, said, that he reiterated what is in the regulations. The regulations are very clear. First, and to clarify, NASA is not a political party. NASA has no candidate. The presidential candidate for this alliance called NASA is under ODM. So the presidential agent in every polling station for Raila will be ODM candidate agent. So that agent will be accredited as a presidential candidate to look at the interests of the NASA team. Now, the next thing is we'll also have other agents for the candidates who are running. If by luck, Wiper also has a candidate in that polling station, they will have their they will have the candidate's agent on site. Then the same thing with all those other parties in NASA. But I think it would be unfair to force the Electoral Commission to expand its policies to accommodate the whims of political parties. And I think it's very important for every politician to know that if we do not allow the IBC to apply the regulations as have been approved by Parliament, and also as has been clarified by the Court of Appeal in the recent judgment, if we do not allow that, we do not expect to have peaceful elections, nor do we even expect transparency, because NASA is not the only player in the field. We also have other candidates and other alliances in the field, and they are also entitled to fairness in the process. And because we cannot accommodate the whims and the wishes of everyone, then that's why we have the law in place. Let's allow the IBC to follow the regulations, and for me, I would really appeal to IBC to stick to the regulations, because that is what is required of them.
Okay, Komwai, some would say that for a credible election, it is important for IBC to seemingly go out of their way to ensure that all parties are satisfied. Do you think it's unfair if they attempted to expand their policies to accommodate what NASA is asking for in one way or the other?
NASA is asking too much. I mean, I want to look at it from political perspective. NASA, I agree with Wakili, it's not a political party. NASA is just a house which has accommodated different political parties. And when they came together, they decided to use the name NASA after abandoning CURD. Now, you know, most of supporters of even NASA, they don't know that Raila Odinga's name on 8th of August, they will see ODM. Actually, the candidate is ODM, and ODM is the mother of NASA. Now, Honorable Raila Odinga would be so insincere, should be quite sincere with the IEBC. How can IEBC allow 5 hooligans to monitor his papers as far as the presidential
hooligans?
Yeah, do you know why I'm referring to those hooligans? These 5 people, NASA, they've not come out quite clear to tell us if they have any technical know-how.
Can you start your statement again with a different word, just for the benefit of the
the reason as why I'm calling them hooligans, these are loyalists to an individual.
But it's unfair to call them hooligans.
But it shall be the genesis of violence.
It is unfair. No. It is unfair. I want to hear your point, but I want to hear your point.
Okay, fine, let me withdraw.
If you use the right term.
Okay, let me withdraw the word hooligans.
Thank you.
But these are, Kenyans. I call them shenanigans?
Kenyans.
These are Kenyans,
yes,
who does not have any technical know-how on how elections should be conducted. And if NASA, they can convince us, the analysts, any supporters from both Jubilee and even the government, they should tell us where these people are getting their training. Because if I heard Raila sometimes back when he was addressing the media, he assured his supporters that ukishapiga kura unakaa hapo kwa polling station. Now I want to ask you, in any democratic country, even in the US, any sober-minded man would vote and go home and you watch how your candidate is performing in terms of numbers and everything. But if Honorable Raila, a man I respect so much, and he has a lot of political experience, can incite his supporters that after voting, now they have to stay there, they monitor on how his votes are going to be counted. So we were asking ourselves, you can imagine how the polling stations shall be crowded. Because remember, at the gate, we have his supporters shouting, Baba Mesha Shinda. Inside there, we have 5 people, and we don't know if these people, they have any training. Or these people, they have even weapons. Now, it's the work of current acting internal security minister. I'm not going to support this. He has to equip his boys with the tear gas and rungus. We will only allow, and that's what the law says, and my sister, only one agent.
And even we cannot do that. Ray, what Komoi has painted is an extreme picture. There are ways in which we can mitigate having to...
Komoi knows that as analysts, we are a dignified cohort. We are a cohort that should really help this nation and people who are listening. And not to personalize these issues too much. I think let's come to facts and let's be devoid of emotions because they become very fatuous. Wahiga, what is clear is this, and what Jemima said. The regulations are very clear. Within 400 meters, there should be no representation except for what has been provided by the guideline. So what we are saying, beyond 400 meters, whatever parties can do, that's up to them. But remember what we are saying. It's not personalizing. Let's not, Komoi, let's not personalize this. It's not only about the goods. And then secondly, Wahiga, it's not, let's not say whether they're shenanigans, whether they are goons, but the fact is, we don't even have the capacity to verify whether these people have technical skills on running elections. That is inconsequential. What is a fact here is that there should be a regulated number of people within the stations that are equally representative from all parties. What I agreed with him is only saying that NASA is demanding much on this. One party cannot be treated higher than other parties. I think that's where the argument should be. But to say these are shenanigans, these are goons, some people will be at the gates shouting Raila, Raila. Actually, this applies to
for a lot of clarification.
Let me allow Jemima to weigh in.
Yes, and also I think we also need to clarify that the agents will have to be accredited by the IBC, and they will have badges. That if they will not even be allowed to enter the polling stations as agents to observe if they do not have badges. It's not a walk-in shop where you come and say this is ODM agent, just your ID. You have to be accredited. So these are very organized position. And I think another thing which I need to address in a few of what Kimaya has said is that we are not a military state. Actually, we should have minimum police officers at the police station. They should not come to intimidate the voters. At the 400 radius, that is a zone controlled by IBC, and no police officer can act unless they are given orders by the presiding officer. So the issue of internal security has nothing to do with the 400 radius of the polling station. That is a zone for IBC.
Jemima, just a quick one before I allow Komwai to weigh in. Can IBC do anything to ensure that we don't get to some of the scenarios that have been painted in studio between now and August 8th?
I do not know what exactly what they need to do, but what I know, and I heard from the chairman saying, they are prepared to do what they are supposed to do within the polling stations. They seem clear to know that they are supposed to accredit
in terms of maybe meeting NASA again, trying to bring up this issue, being proactive.
Yeah, but I believe Wahiga, to help Jemima, IBC met the NASA brigade, all the teams, and I believe at this point, let all the teams come clear. And when it comes to what will be chaos that will be that may be happening at the station, I think within the 400 meters, IBC should be in control. But remember, it's also imbued on all players. One, the citizenry. We must also be very responsible. Wahiga, we have places whereby we may even have a turnout of 20,000 people going to a polling station. 20,000 people cannot gather around the gate. If they gather around the gate, that is already disaster. So the citizenry have a part to play as much as IBC has a part to play. But the other thing that also where we have also to put a lot of weight, political players have a role to play. So at the end of the day, even NASA should be sober enough to really realize that putting a lot of people at the station, I think it's a very brilliant idea, but how it should be implemented should be very strict.
Why you set a fire in studio?
Yes.
Are you going to change what you were about to say, or you carry on with the same narrative?
I cannot change. You see, my difference with my learned friends, I foresee, I analyze, be it a legal sentiment into political, I look at it from political perspective. When I heard Honorable Raila, I've been trying to analyze why they disagree with Komwai. But surely, if Jubilee can have 5 agents at one polling station, and ODM actually, NASA is ODM, is the mother. ODM is the mother of NASA. They have also, 5 agents at the same polling station. Now we have 10 people inside one room. And at the same time, the principal of NASA is advising, commanding his supporters that after voting, you stay at the gate. So these 5 people will send a signal to hundreds of supporters outside there. That is like IBC is trying to play with us here, or Jubilee agents are trying to play with us here. Are you seeing any violence there? So I'm not trying to personalize this. Honorable Raila should be advised. If anything happens, that's why his audience is now the international community. He's been attracting even the AU. Do you know why they're even surveying whatever the election and everything?
I wouldn't say he has. Of course, it's part of their role to oversee elections across Africa and EU as well.
And
their role is to ensure that they do whatever they can to help African
nations. That's why I'm saying
hold credible elections. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's why I'm saying when one of our presidential candidates is now advising his supporters and disagreeing with even the IBC, it sends a very bad signal even to the internal security system. Now, I would also disagree with the IBC. They are advising us that we should step away 400 meters from the polling station. My mother, Auma, she's just 150 from Cielo Primary School. Now, Chabukati should confirm to me right now, immediately my mom has voted, she will hire an helicopter to relocate my mom from our home. Or they are going to demolish and they will relocate us somewhere.
Because the house is 150 meters from
our home is just a stone thrown to Cielo Primary. So these are lack of strategies. I've been blaming the IBC chairman that it doesn't involve political scientists into his sentiments or any decision he's making. This is not a spiritual matter. This is a political issue. When he's trying to tell us that we must step away 400 meters, then what if we don't step away? They will deploy police, and what does he know?
Komwai, it's part of the law.
You say many good things, but sometimes you sneak in very mischievous.
But I don't have to say good things to everyone all the time. This makes sense.
This is getting out of hand. We're going to halt this topic right now. Let me quickly switch to something else that happened in that press conference. And let's talk about announcement of the presidential results. Ezra Chiloba, in a press conference, I believe the day before yesterday, announced that whereas in the past they would have given periodic updates on presidential results. This time round, systems are changing because results will be declared at the constituency level for the presidential race. And thereafter, what IEBC's role will be is to simply announce the final tally once they receive all the results from the 290 constituencies. A brief comment from each of you about that. Should IEBC work towards giving Kenyans updates every minute, or should they wait until they have results from all 290 constituencies? Because there are some who feel that the longer it takes for Kenyans to hear about results, the more worried they would be. I want a comment from each of you, starting with you, Ray.
Great, Wahiga. IEBC, the law is very clear now. Chebukati will be making the announcement finally. But in
the final announcement.
Yeah, but we are forgetting one thing. The media is part and parcel of the players. In terms of what will be announced at the tally, these results are going to be beamed in terms of whatever will be announced. So it's going to be clear. Why are parties talking about tallying centers? Already we'll be seeing results. It's only that they will not be we will not say at that point that we can declare a win. But the media is going to be playing a role. So I'm not saying, let's not accuse IEBC that the way maybe like some people do not have facts, that why will they be keeping quiet? I think the media as a tool, we will be seeing what is going on in terms of the updates. It's only that nobody will have the right to declare a winner.
Let me bring into my mind this and paint another scenario.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the era of fake news. We know that social media, WhatsApp, people will be sending all sorts of results. And because IEBC have, in a sense, stated that what they will finally give is the last tally once they've added up, won't that space in which, you know, Kenyans are waiting for results be a time when, you know, people who, you know, work on fake news and all that really have audience to send all sorts of alerts and messages out there?
Waiga, personally, when it comes to election process, I prefer to stick to what the regulations provide. I do disagree with the position which I saw in the media stipulated that IEBC would only tell us what is the final result for the presidential. The regulations are very clear. The IEBC chairman is supposed to announce the county tally for the presidential candidate. We have 47 counties. I expect that he would be announcing the presidential election results from every county.
Not
from the
constituency or county?
County. That is what is expected under Regulation 87. Okay. I do know the Court of Appeal dealt the IEBC a blow by saying that they could not verify or do that. But they said that the only issue was if there is an inconsistent to the extent that they are required to verify. But the other part of the regulations which requires the chairman to announce presidential results from the counties remains. So I expect them to comply with that. And for me, I do see problem if they do not comply with that. Okay. Other than that, and later after announcing the 47, it is expected that he would be telling us who has won and by what margin.
Okay, Komwai, final comment from you in regards to this?
Well, I will support the fact that the chairman of IEBC should be the last person to give us the final. Well, the political parties should also play a role. They will have their agents, they will have numbers, and also the government should also allow the media.
What role is that? Announcing some?
No, you know, when you have...
Just clarify for us.
You know, I had Raila Odinga was saying there are tallying centers in Kenya and the cloud. So the Kenya and the cloud, they will know the result and the number of votes they have as far as presidential results are concerned. Jubilee, they also have their tallying center. They will know how many votes President Uhuru Kenyatta has received. Now, the media will also do, and media will now be independent. They will also have their figures. But for the interest of Kenyans, you must also share with us the figures you have, because we are the ones who are now watching you, the media. And the government must allow the media, because media cannot be biased. They will have their details. Unlike now how Citizen TV has been so enhanced and advanced. I mean, we can get reports from anywhere in this country. In any country, you have a correspondence with the camera, and we get exactly what is going on the ground. The government and IEBC should respect such a technology. We will also depend on what media will give us. So this issue of fake news, we know fake news. We know genuine bloggers in this country. If any blogger comes in called Punda Milea, will say this is a fake, this is a shenanigan. We know Citizen TV, we follow you on Twitter. We know all these other media houses. We know genuine bloggers. We know Jubilee account, be it Facebook and what have you, and website, same as to ODM or NASA. So the issue of fake accounts, we are more enhanced on that, and no one can cheat us on.
Okay.
So the issue of final results, I think it's just they're trying to bring some decorum into the entire process. Yes, we will have our figures. Then we will verify. Is what the chairman is telling us is real? based on what we receive from Citizen TV and our political party. So I think they're just trying, I know they're just trying to bring some decorum into the entire process and, and confusion, to contain confusion and to manage whatever repercussions and maybe something which can cause violence.
Thank you so much. That's how we wrap up this discussion for today. Thank you, Bonke Komwai, for your analysis, Ray Ochieng, and of course, Jemima Kelly for coming in and engaging on these topics that are dominating the headlines today, and of course, over the next few days as well. That's how we wrap up this part of the discussion. We'll be talking with religious leaders shortly about their role in calling for credible and peaceful elections and what they're doing in regards to that as well. They'll be back in studio shortly. And of course, from 12 o'clock, the Kiswahili edition of Citizen Extra will also be taking place. We have much more lined up for you in regards to that. Keep it Citizen TV. You're watching Citizen Extra.
Don't worry, they'll be well. Best Avengers. Yes.
You wouldn't have investigated my boyfriend.
Yes, okay, I admit it. Come on. Your relationship with him has made me doubt my feelings.